Morning beer drinkers. Today's beer is Brazilian by the Colchester Brewery, just down the road from me in Wakescombe, coming in at a sensible, oh it's 4 point something and I can't find it, 4.6% ABV, a dark special porter. Apologies if I look shot to bits. I've just finished a 5-night weekend over the bank holiday weekend. It's 6:30 on Wednesday morning and I thought I'd have a beer before I go to bed, and this I would say top 5, maybe even my very favourite beer. I started the brewery open, I think I've told you before, the brewery opened in 2011, Mancave Brewery, and this was one of their brews they do. It's won countless local awards, beer festivals in Colchester and Clacton, all over the place. It's a coffee vanilla porter and it is absolutely delicious. So I thought I'd, after doing a porter the other day, I'd crack this open. But before I do that, the news. Now I realise I am a day or two behind because, like I just said, I was working bank holiday weekend. Now I work for a national newspaper, and this story broke, I think if I remember rightly, it was my Saturday night printing for Sunday morning, so Sunday morning's newspaper, and it's about the Carling Black Label scandal. Now another guy who I follow on YouTube has already covered this story, but I feel compelled to give you my tuppence worth of anger on this subject. So I don't know if you'll know, but the Inland Revenue, HMRC, so for our American customers, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, have been in a court battle with Molson Coors, who brew Carling Black Label, up in Burton-on-Trent, up the road. It's out the road, right up the road, up north, claiming they owe the British government £50 million in income tax or revenue on the beer, because the beer is a 4%, I say beer, it's lager, is a 4% lager, and Molson Coors have been paying it based on 3.7% alcohol by volume. They've won the court case and haven't got to pay it because they say that in the brewing process, it's a natural process and alcohol by volume cannot be controlled perfectly, and the law says there is a tolerance or variation of 0.5%. Now, so basically what they've been doing, and I think this is about as low as it gets, they've been brewing their beer at 3.7%, sorry, brewing their lager at 3.7%, selling it to you, the consumer. I'm hoping none of you drink it because it tastes like shit. To you, the consumer, at a price which represents a 4% beer. So you're paying tax on this beer based on the fact it's a 4% beer, and they're paying the government tax on the beer based on the fact it's a 3.7% beer, and the bit in between they're making money on. Now I think that's just about as low as you can get. They've got on record as saying they've done nothing wrong. The law states they're allowed a 0.5 variation in their brew, which the law does say that, but just because the law says that, it doesn't mean that it's right. And I think what they've done is absolutely despicable. I cannot believe they've lied to their customers about the strength of their beer. Now, my understanding is, and don't quote me on this, it's not the case that they've aimed to brew this beer at 4% and occasionally it goes down to 3.7 because of the natural process. My understanding is they've deliberately brewed this beer at 3.7%. So their argument that the variation is what's caused it to be lower in some cases is complete horseshit. They've deliberately brewed this beer at 3.7% to avoid paying tax that you're paying and they're pocketing, which I think is unforgivable. I don't drink the stuff anyway. I've tried it when I was a youngster and I cannot stand it. It tastes like battery acid, if you ask me. But there are a lot of people, millions in fact, that drink Carling as their #1 brew and they love it to bits. That's up to them, each to their own. I'm really hoping those guys, after what Molson Coors have done, which ultimately is larger, given the fact they actually write on their cans 4%, and I believe it's in red as well, so they're quite proud of the fact they're brewing this beer at 4%, when in fact it's complete bollocks. They're brewing it at 3.7%. Yeah, so I, share this video, get it out there, because they snuck this news out on a Sunday over bank holiday weekend, knowing that everyone will be out with their families, no one will be on the internet, and they can sneak it out there and hopefully under the radar and get away with it. And I think it's deplorable. I cannot believe that a company like that, I actually say that, I can believe a company like that would do it, because they're one of the big three brewers that are slowly taking over the world of small breweries, buying up all sorts of stuff. And I hate that. I cannot stand it. I think, which is why I like drinking this stuff, because it's all local companies, local breweries, local microbreweries, all set up themselves. I'm hoping they don't sell out any of them. But anyway, yeah, if you're a Carling drinker, you shouldn't be. After what they've done, the very least, if they claim they don't owe the government that £50 million, they owe it to you guys, because you've been paying for it. You've been paying tax on a beer based on an alcohol content that isn't real. It's just, words fail me. But it just goes to show you, do they care about the consumer? Do they care about their customers? Because if they did, they would have kind of just paid the tax bill and let you all carry on thinking it was 4%. I mean, that's even that's a bit underhand, but they were quite happy to screw you guys over and say, yeah, been doing it for years. In fact, my understanding is since 2012, so 5 years. The tax bill only goes for 4 years, I think, to 2016. That's what the HMRC is trying to chase. But yeah, so for the past 5 years, they've been deceiving their customers, big time. Not just by a fraction of a percent. 3.7. That's a big leap when we talk about beers. Anyway, enough of that. That's my rant over. Apologies, it's a little 2 or 3 days out of date, but like I said, I've been working bank holiday weekends. I've not had a chance to get out in the man cave and do a review. Anyway, so there you go. On to more important things. Brazilian porter, special porter. Now, Colchester Brewey have a brewing process called double dropping. Apparently, it's quite an old technology. My understanding is, I've done some research a few weeks ago, but I forgot to write the notes down. Anyway, so my understanding is double dropping is they brew the water up in a vessel to a certain stage of fermentation. Then under gravity, they drop it into a second vessel, same size, etc., leaving behind some of the sediment, all the crap, and the unfermentable yeast, aerating the beer and agitating the fermentable yeast left in the beer, which gives it a second wind, if you like. Apparently, it's supposed to give you a much cleaner tasting beer. I have to say, every one of the beers they've brewed, they do seasonal beers and regulars and winter ales and all sorts, and everyone I've had, I've not disliked. They're all very nice beers. And this one, even sitting here, I can smell that already. I'm getting a lovely, mate, honestly, I wish you could smell it. I'm going to a little pint glass my wife bought it recently for the man cave, because all my other glasses are in the dishwasher. The smell of that is just absolutely, so look at that, a little bit left in the bowl. So we have here, oh look, I've got to put my light on, hang on 2 seconds, there you go, a bit more light. Yeah, it's a porter, it's not completely opaque, it again has a ruby coppery tinge to it, so you can see through it slightly off white head, which is gone already. Mildly carbonated, tiniest hint of carbonation. Let's get a nose in it. I don't need to smell it, because I've drunk this beer countless times. This beer, in my opinion, is that good. When I went to the last Colchester Winter Ale Festival, at which they have 70 odd beers. Now, probably like you guys, when I go to a beer festival, I don't have the same pint twice. That's the whole point. You turn up, you drink half pints of pints, you try as many beers as you can before you can't stand up. I went to the Colchester Winter Ale Festival. I think it was this year's one, this winter. It was January, February time. Anyway, that's the first time ever I got to beer festival and I only drunk Brazilian, because it's so popular. Once they tap the barrel, it goes in. Oh, it goes quick. So myself and my friend Darren, who went along, just drunk Brazilian until the barrel was empty. We didn't empty the barrel because a lot of other people were drinking it, but I'm quite ashamed of the fact that I didn't try loads of other beers. However, that's how good this beer is. Anyway, so it's malty, roasty, unlike the other porter I had, I forget which one it was now, that was mildly vanilla and mildly coffee. This has got a very strong vanilla and coffee smell to it. Smells absolutely delicious. Anyway, let's tuck in. Cheers. There are no words to describe how good this beer is. It's clean for a porter. It's crisp. It's gently carbonated. Hardly any carbonation at all. Just a mildest hint. That's an email coming through. Strong coffee flavour, strong vanilla flavour, chocolatey malts. Hardly any hop flavour at all. It's all malty. You know, in my opinion, again, my palate, as you know, proper beer flavoured. It is absolutely delicious. My brother and I, 2 Christmases ago, got a barrel from the brewery, 36 pint keg if you like, and myself and my brother drank the whole lot on Christmas Day and Boxing Day between us. Don't remember that Christmas much, believe it or not, but it was absolutely delicious. Anyway, I can't wax lyrical enough about how good this beer is. If you can get hold of any, obviously for you guys overseas, it's going to be a struggle. But for anybody in the UK, if you can lay your hands on some of this and you like dark beers, you won't find a better coffee porter. It is absolutely, without doubt, the best beer in this style, and probably my favourite beer I've ever had. Untapped have this at, if you excuse me 2 seconds, they have this at 3.92, which is pretty good because a lot of the beers get 3.5. That's a good score, but I'm going to give this a 5 because I absolutely love this beer, and that's how much I think you guys should try it. If you can get your hands on some, dig it out and buy some. It is absolutely nectar. Cheers. Oh man. See you next time.